No, little motherfucker. No, Whiskerton, leave it. That swallowtail is not a toy. Out, come on, back to the kitchen. We've got a fuck fancy dinner to finish. That's Charlotte Juniper Thistle. She's the head chef at the Hearthlight, the best seasonal supper club this side of Ursa Major. And Whiskerton is the animal resident. Bright eyes, sharp claws, and the physique of a hunter who's found a comfortable roost in a competent human to make the favorite cat-bat delicacy, strained catnip berry sherbet. Though, as Whiskerton follows Charlotte out of the greenhouse and away from the enticing black swallowtails glimmering like fireflies, you can see the classic cat-bat eye roll. Charlotte, taste this. What do you think of this for the party tonight? And this is Casey Blaze, Charlotte's best friend and barista-bartender of the Hearthlight. She loves mushroom tisanes, curio collecting, and foraging, and giving tours of the neighboring cemetery that usually end with picnics among the tombstones and moody poetry. Dried orange peel, birch syrup, solar still moonshine from my guy across town, soaked with whole cloves. Damn, I like it. It's the coldest, darkest day of the year, Winter Solstice. Charlotte and Casey are hosting a party, part feast, part game night, part ritual. Typically, their supper club is open 5 nights a week for the rotating menu. Dumpling Moondays, Taco Tuesdays, Hand Pies Wednesdays, Soup and Sandwich Thursdays, and Street Food Saturdays. But occasionally, they host the odd wandering chef pop-up, or a special chosen family meal. I think I'm going to offer this alongside the hot toddy, booze optional, and then chilled snow apple cider. How's the food? Can I help? Yeah, Lucky and I got it. Spiced hand pies in the blast chiller, jus reducing, duck in the smoker, chocolate gingerbread cake halfway decorated, potluck bread basket. I think we'll get biscuits, cornbread, elderberry jam. That sounds damn tasty. Remember that sourdough wreath your brother brought last time? Hey, Lucky, got all the lights up? Solar lanterns in the firs, solar strands along the perimeter, and fairy lights in the orchard. And this is Lucky, the gastronomical golem who found a home at Hearthlight and now helps manage the property, the bookkeeping, and sometimes the wildlife. Great. Well, I've got to get these greens going that I just picked then. Motherfucker, Whiskerton! Whiskerton was perched on the countertop below the pantry shelves, looking rather pleased, tail swaying back and forth languidly. Jars of gardened, foraged, and gifted preserves, spices, pickles, hot sauces, and mushrooms lined the shelves with hand-painted labels. Red beans and broken glass were on the floor. Why the fuck? Whiskerton, why? Fucking goblin gravy, what was that? Low growl, mysterious. An unidentified quadruped, possibly Ursus genus, if... Casey, Lucky, and Charlotte rushed across the kitchen to crowd around the long, thin window overlooking the side yard near the cemetery. Whiskerton leapt to the work table and began batting the pink and orange string lights and drying garlands of garlic, oranges, and chilies. Well, are you serious? We don't need the fucking recycler acting up. Unless that's not the recycler. The most plausible explanation is a water collection gasket pressure fluctuation. Or a ghost. Though our property does border the town cemetery, there is no data supporting a ghost. The absence of data is merely an invitation. Ah, yes, Ursus genus. Whiskerton leapt to a shelf above her friends, and they all stared out. Sure enough, listeners, there it was, a bear. A massive, gangly, fur-covered, bewildered bear. Approaching the property's hibernating rosemary bushes like it had reservations. There were several gardens at Hearthlight. At the front was their community garden shed in the e-bike rack. On the west side was the orchard, 3 old snow apple trees, under which sat long wood tables. The back garden had several raised beds, the composter, and a greenhouse where they grew food for the menu. And the east side garden bordered the cemetery, with herbs, berry bushes, and wild greens for animals that wandered through. Look, it found the rosemary! It's a gourmand! It is unusual for a bear of this size to approach populated areas. It may be stressed, or hungry, or both. That is the most logical explanation for its stirring from winter hibernation. Do you think it wandered toward the lights?
Fuck, Lucky, I wish I hadn't told you to hang so many lanterns near the cemetery now. That probably drew the bear from the tree line.
The bear had reached the edge of the supper club garden and tangled itself in the strands of lights. Startled, it roared, struggled, and stumbled into stacks of empty garden pots. The butterflies in the greenhouse fluttered frantically, lit up brighter than ever. The bear roared louder, and its eyes changed from bright bubblegum to dark magenta.
Maybe it's got menstrual rage? What?
Seriously? Maybe our ghost is having a period. I do not believe it is wise to suppose...
Motherfucker,
Whiskerton! As our trio rushed to the library, or what they called their quiet hangout room/office, that besides a desk housed several ferns, a functional Macintosh Plus, a patchwork blanket in shades of maroon and butter yellow, 2 deep armchairs, and photos of last spring's bake sale mixed in with the invoices. They met their catbats sauntering away unbothered.
Little motherfucker.
I need a drink. These are mammalian titles on the floor.
Just say bears, Lucky. Bears with dark fur and glowing pink eyes.
Mammalian? I wonder.
No, the greenhouse.
I swear this is worse than filing taxes sober. Charlotte, I cannot let you run off and possibly endanger yourself or our distressed guest. While Lucky held Charlotte's shoulders, Casey had been reading the factory and handmade books that were strewn open on the floor. She looked at the pages that several had crashed open to and examined the titles on the covers and spines. Hey, I think I've got it. Lucky, can you set up a containment bubble using an extension cable and the backup generator? I believe so. Great. And Charlotte, think you can cool yourself long enough to decoct blackberry, cider, and ancho chilies?
But the swallowtails.
We'll find them. We'll fix the greenhouse.
Oh, motherfucker,
Whiskerton? Do you smell something?
Oh no, the Jew!
Charlotte's kitchen was bright and colorful, like her. Even her baby Hetty was colorful. Short for Hestia, the bright green, retrofitted 300-year-old stove pulled energy from the rooftop solar and still had its original warming oven and broiling drawer. On its front and center flame, smoke bloomed from the tall blue stockpot.
Fuck, those were the last of our bison bones!
Whiskerton watched the bear through the window near the back door, her stance tight and poised. Charlotte raced around the kitchen, gathering a string of hanging chilies, frozen blackberries, and a bottle of their cider, knocking over a bus tub of dirty dishes and a tin of tasting spoons in the process.
Fuck.
Casey went to the hall cupboard and returned with a torch and their portable med kit. Then she grabbed a jar of hazelnuts from the pantry and put it in her shawligan pocket. Lucky went out the front door, then strode past the windows wearing a welder's mask, carrying a metal box and a thick coiled silver cable. Did you or Lucky reprogram the club phone, Charlotte? I don't recognize the tone. We should mention that this particular phone is programmed to ring different tones for friend, best friend, troll, and acquaintance. But this tone was different. I see, Whiskerton. Lucky has the containment bubble up. Charlotte pulled on her heat mitts, grabbed the pot, and followed Casey to the door. They stepped quietly outside. Whiskerton ran past them, then flew to a branch in an oak tree. Silver cable ran from a dial on the building wall to the portable generator, Lucky kneeling next to it. Butterflies fluttered in and out of a smashed pane of glass at the corner of the greenhouse, and the bear lashed on the ground, furious and tangled in sparkling string lights.
So why those plants?
Blackberries to remind it of abundant summers, cider to remind it of autumn and preparing to rest, ancho chilies to relieve pain. Now, Charlotte, can you set the pot down? Whiskerton, can we borrow your wings? Whiskerton leapt and hovered, flapping and pushing steam from the decoction toward the bear. Casey took a few slow, deep breaths and began humming. Greenhouse swallowtails hovered around Charlotte, some landing in her hair. Scent molecules in the moving steam began to glimmer, like magic dust particles, the same shade of lapis blue that glowed on the butterfly's wings. Everything around them smelled yeasty, tart, spicy, savory, and charred. The bear's growls and jerky movements grew softer and quieter. Greetings, magnificent wanderer. We see your distress, your disorientation, your hunger. You found a safe resting place.
Holy fuck!
It appears sedated. Casey, hand me the med kit. The friends worked quickly. Whiskerton watched, poised like a scout. Casey resumed humming as she assessed the bear's health using the med scanner. Lucky used the laser knife to carefully cut the strands of lights that wound around the bear, handing the pieces to Charlotte, who put them in one of the larger garden pots that the bear hadn't smashed. Scans show no parasites or infection.
Poor big motherfucker woke up and had no food, no friends. Maybe it had a nightmare.
Casey pulled the jar of hazelnuts from her pocket and handed it to Lucky. Whatever its reasons, it's here now. Would you leave a trail of these to the stream? Yes. After that, I shall return and check the containment bubble.
I'll check the greenhouse, get the swallowtail settled, then get back to dinner, make sure nothing else is fucking burned.
I'm gonna check the recycler, maybe answer the phone. Dear bear friend, when you wake, follow the hazelnuts to the stream. Maybe you'll find some fish or a carcass. Rest well until spring. As Lucky and Charlotte got to work in the dusk light, Casey went inside, but directly to the phone and answered it. Hello, this is Hearthlight. Through the receiver, Casey heard bells and mixed voices talking and laughing. Duck up, extra grits, extra sauce. A ticket order? Whiskerton strode in, strings of dried oranges and garlic cloves lassoed around her torso. Thanks for calling. Happy solstice. Hearthlight out. Well, Whiskerton, I think we have to tell Charlotte we have one more dish for the menu. As their friends arrived, the long, heavy tables filled with jars of greenhouse flowers, juniper and cedar branches, mixed plates of pie, cornbread, Charlotte's brother's sourdough, glasses of cider and Casey's special spiced punch, with hot chocolate for the teens, tweens, and littles. Whiskerton sat on her shelf in the corner, lapping a bowl of catnip berry sherbet, swishing her tail, descending only to wind through the table legs, looking for tasty fallen tidbits of duck, usually from the hands of small children. Shadows danced on the plastered walls, giving new life to paintings, framed photos, and Casey's pinned insect collection. And Lucky leaned tenderly over the phonograph, adjusting the needles so that guitar strains echoed through the space.
Oh, Lucky, it's fucking beautiful.
The additional dish looks delicious.
Yeah, thanks. It was Casey's idea. Some Blue Star corn tortillas with Christmas lima bean smoked duck and an orange soy ginger garlic sauce. Brilliant.
Hey, family. Thank you for being here tonight, for bringing food and games, a little toast, or prayer, if you will, for tonight and the coming orbit. We acknowledge our land, Madre Terra, and our star, Grandmother Soul. We move in networks with our plant-animal siblings as caretakers. May we gather and share medicine, food, love, and stories, and repair harm where we can. Let us eat, drink, dance, and be our beautiful selves.